Well, boys, I finally did it. We've got a new bike. It only took me, like 4 or 5 different KLR comparison videos to realize that maybe the big bore dual sports is where I am best suited to continue my investigation. If you guys are new to the channel, you haven't ever watched any videos, for the last, 8 years now, I've been riding either a KLR or a Gen3 700, kind of mixed in with some other fun bikes. We've got a 701 in the garage now, as well as a TW200. And as many big bore and I guess small bore single cylinder dual sports as I've ridden, I've never been on the kind of iconic XR650L. And if you guys are unfamiliar, if you haven't seen the comparison video, woo, this bike is like on the absolute other end of the spectrum compared to the KLR 650 that I've been riding. That bike is definitely geared more for, well, the pavement and kind of longer stints on the pavement on the highway, where this bike has quite a few things about it that definitely make it, well, a little bit more at home off the road. Partially the fact that it has the seat height of a full-blown motocross bike, 37 inches off the ground, minus an inch with the seat concept seat that the guy that I bought this from was nice enough to leave on here for me. He actually had another one in the garage, 2013, that has some really nice mods on it. Let me take that one for a spin too, and that definitely had a bit more of an aggressive feel to it than this, but boy, this thing feels, and I mean looks obviously maybe a little bit old, but definitely aggressive compared to the KLR. And it really just, it kind of feels it too. It's not like, I mean, I guess we're only doing, what, 50 miles an hour. It's actually pretty smooth at 50, honestly. I'm kind of surprised. And it's a super windy day, so that's going to be a bit annoying. Also wish I would have brought some sunglasses. We got Jerry up in the Colorado there. He drove me out here so I could ride it home on this beautiful 65-degree March day. I don't have any navigation at all. We're just going to follow him, but I do have my phone going in my chest pocket, which actually doesn't seem to be working too terribly bad. So this has 734 miles on it now. It is a 2023, and I am just so happy that I found this thing. I paid about $1,000 less, I think, than they'll quote you online if you look one up and build one. So I don't really feel too bad about that. I mean, with that low of miles, I mean, this was basically just too good to pass up. I've sort of always been interested in one of these, and it wasn't until I realized that this is, like I said, kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum of what I've been used to as far as the KLR goes. And it definitely feels that way, and it looks that way. I mean, this has, I think the KLR has, what, 8 inches of ground clearance, where this has 13? Just absolutely insane. I mean, that's, again, motocross numbers, which has, something to do with why the seat's so high, but at 5'10", 160 pounds, and a 31-inch inseam, I mean, it's not easy to get my foot to the ground, but it's definitely not as much of a big deal as I thought it would be. And I will admit, I did have a little bit of an oh shit moment last night when I realized that all the bikes that I've been riding have only been like 33 inches off the ground as far as the seat goes. And I'm thinking 37, that's a long ways off the ground. But honestly, I mean, as skinny as the bike is, as nice as the seat concept seat is with an inch chopped out of it, I'm not worried about it at all, man. This is fun. And it just rides on the road so nice. I'm surprised. I mean, I don't mean it rides on the road so nice like a nice cruiser would, of course. I mean, it's a giant, pretty tall dual sport motorcycle with a single cylinder engine that hasn't changed since, what, the 90s? But man, I think I'm gonna like my XR650L. This thing is gonna be fun. I haven't really had the opportunity to showcase it right now, I suppose, but on the test ride, kind of like with the first dual sport that I ever test rode, the DRZ, it sort of surprised me when I really cranked on it. I mean, I wasn't even trying to pull the wheel up. I was just trying to hit the gas to see what it would do. And it came off the ground, and a couple times I was kind of going around corners and accidentally pulled the front wheel off the ground too. So I mean, it's not my 701, that's for sure. Make no mistake there. But This thing is no KLR 650 either, and it's got 40 horsepower, which is about what the KLRs have kind of always had, but it only weighs like, what, 360 some pounds? I think it's like 116 pounds lighter than my 490 pound KLR with all the crash protection on it. And I mean, this thing, what is there to protect? I mean, sure, I could stick some pannier racks in the back, and I might do that, but I mean, what am I gonna hit? There's nothing to break. There's no radiator. I mean, this is a woods bike if I've ever been on one, and I mean, it's certainly not going to be near as much of a highway bike as the KLR, but I'm pretty optimistic that with a few tweaks that, well, okay, maybe tweak isn't really the right word, a few big changes up at the front section here, I think this bike will look a heck of a lot cooler and also be a heck of a lot more comfortable to ride on the road. Because I mean, even with this big Clark 4-gallon tank on here, my legs are pretty well protected. Sure, I don't have the big cowls like the stock tank would, but man, I'm feeling pretty good on this thing. It's 65, I think, probably about. And I mean, I've got the MSR Voyager gear and the base layer on, and that's it. And I've got all my vents open from standing around being a little bit too hot. Tighten the chain up quick before we took off, and man, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable on this now. I think I might zip my flaps up a bit once I get some of this moisture out of here, but 65, I guess 60, almost 65 indicated on the dash. Person behind Jerry, I suppose. This bike is comfy. The front sprocket and the shaft that it sits on can have a bit of an issue, or will have a bit of, I guess, wear happening if you don't do something about it. Basically, this bike has no cushion between the engine and the back tire, other than the rubber itself on the tire, where a lot of the other bikes, all the other bikes that I've ridden, I think anyways, most of them, have a cush drive. And I can kind of paste in a clip from the 701, and you can see basically where there's these two parts that sort of interface, and there's these big chunks of rubber between them that just sort of cushion any sort of difference in speed between the motor and the road, which is obviously an important thing when you're getting on or off the throttle. So we'll have to do that. I really hope you guys can hear me. It's a little bit windy, and I can definitely tell the high profile is getting blown around a little bit, but even though it's a little bit lighter, I don't feel too bad about it. This is not bad. Foot pegs definitely are what's moving the most. Maybe the grips a little bit, which I could easily put some more rubbery grips on here. Railroad crossing. Even with that stock pipe on here, this thing's got some grunt. Stop's good too. Front is, I don't know, not awful as far as squishiness goes. Ooh. Definitely responsive, and this doesn't have anything done as far as any performance mods go at all. So we can definitely get a little bit more low end out of this with just a few quick, easy mods. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that'll do, but I'm kind of looking forward to riding this stock a bit, and I think that's what I'm going to do. But we definitely have some, I've got some big plans in store for it. I'm going to do a bit of a light adventure build on it that is completely removable, so I can just as easily get back into the woods and really tear up well, not tear up the trails. Have fun on the trails. As far as holding speed, I mean, I don't know how fast we're actually going, probably only about 60, but this is plenty comfortable at 60, man. Do I feel like I'm sitting in my big comfy KLR? Well, I mean, of course not. I'm getting blasted by wind and I'm about a mile off of the pavement, but I'm not too disappointed about it. Of course, no matter what bike you're on, you're going to be making some sacrifices if you go a little bit more off-road or a little bit more on, but man, I'm not too disappointed that I've got to ride this thing an hour and 15 minutes home, I can tell you that much. A windshield definitely will make me feel a little bit more at home, of course, that wind fatigue can definitely get to you, and especially on a cold day, or even on a not cold day, you can definitely cool yourself down a little bit too quickly without any good wind protection. I definitely feel that wind moving me around, and just that little bit of weight difference, and of course me being so much higher. I don't know how the lack of the fairing sort of factors in, but I mean, you do kind of have to, again, expect a little bit less on-road comfort when you're riding a bike that weighs so much less than something like the KLR, simply because the physics, I guess. I mean, the weight of the bike helps kind of keep it glued to the road, where on something lighter like this, obviously, the lighter you get, the closer you are to a piece of paper getting just blown around. So makes sense. That's something that, of course, you want to keep in mind. But obviously, if you're gonna look for a bike that's gonna be more aggressive off the road, you're gonna just have to make some of those sacrifices on road, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with going with the KLR either. But I'm excited to see what I can get this thing to feel like on the road as far as comfort goes, and what I can get it to do off-road compared to the KLR. I was just going to say that I'm starting to feel a bit of a buzz in the seat and in the foot pegs, and then, well, I realized that I still had another gear to go. Things are a little bit smoother now, and this does only have 5 gears, so it's not like this is a huge step up from the KLR as far as that goes. It does seem to have something changed around pretty drastically from the KLR, though, because the KLR, of course, is fuel injected, but I think I get like 50 some miles in the gallon with that, where this, I think the guy said you only get like 30. 35 maybe? So we'll see about that. We'll see what I can get out of it if I ride it real easy versus real hard. Oh, I'm definitely liking the comfort of the new MSR ADV helmet, but I sure do miss my sunshade. I'm really hoping they come out with a modular version with a sunshade in it. I think that would make this helmet, or I guess that helmet, my favorite helmet ever. Do I have an idea if they'll actually come out with one of those? No, I don't at all. But I wouldn't put it past them, because it seems like they're filling up the ADV market pretty quick. On the day that I was riding my KLR home, which honestly, I'll have to look at that. I bet we weren't more than 25 minutes away from where I bought my KLR. I met the guy at the bank, and I think paid him less than he owed on it. On my first KLR, not my Gen 2. That one I just bought from Burns and Anago. But we're pretty close to where I bought my Gen 2. Where's Jerry headed? Oh, 45, right. He's headed home. Good thing I'm following him.
Continue on US 45 north for 18 miles.
It even smells like a Honda. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I feel like it does. It smells like a, not even like an old Honda, just like a Honda. I don't know. So passing speed power, I guess I really haven't tried anything too insane yet, but I mean, I'm not feeling like I'm on a sport bike, of course, or a Gen3 700, but I'm not feeling like I'm on a KLR, that's for sure. This thing definitely has, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing KLRs. A KLR, if you guys haven't seen the videos, is exactly what it is, and exactly what it is an awesome bike. I do not regret any of the years or the time, the miles that I've spent on either of my KLRs, but I am pretty excited to try, like I said, kind of the opposite end of the spectrum here, and surprisingly, I'm not feeling too bad on the, I guess what I thought might be the worst part of it, really. Still got a bit to go though, so I guess we'll see what happens. The Wolf River, is it open? It's open. Oh boy, I feel like I'm a mile off of the ground. I was just gonna say it'd be nice to have some heated grips on here, but thankfully got something to cover me as far as that goes for today anyway. The more aggressive MSR heated gloves. Now we can do a gear drop. Nope. Yeah, so wide open, just dropping it down a few on the highway when we're already doing 45. I mean, it's not my 701. It's not a Tenere 700. It's an XR650L. It's a badass woods bike that can still do highway speeds plenty comfortably. Okay, well that's silly. Whoa. They definitely. Oh wow! If I give the bars a little bit of input, woo, she gets a little wild, and that is, I think, just due to the long forks and just kind of the high travel suspension. I think it's something ridiculous, like 11 inches of travel in the front and 11 or so in the rear as well. I mean, just insane compared to the basically 8 inches of travel on the Gen 3 KLR. I mean, this again, this thing is made for off-road. So of course you are going to run into some kind of lackluster on-road handling because of that. But I mean, if I wanted a sport bike, I would have bought a sport bike. Obviously, we're not on a sport bike. However, I do actually have a sport bike in my sights, something that I've wanted for, man, just a long time. Thing is buzzy. There's just another gear there somehow. How the heck does that work? And I suppose that's why people put the slightly smaller sprocket on the front, or a larger one on the rear, of course, just to kind of bring it down so it's a little bit more powerful off-road. And obviously, like I said, this isn't really a bike that's specifically intended to do this, but man, it sure isn't bad. I guess we'll see how much I'm wishing for more bottom end once we get it off the trail a bit. I'm not too worried about it yet, though. I'll say that. Haven't seen any videos where I talked about these gloves. I had them out when it was 0 degrees, actually, or no, that was the upper set. And then I had these out when it was I suppose it was probably down in the 30s, and it was a little bit cold and late at night. During the day, I guess on that ride they were fine, but then once the dew point dropped, I got pretty chilly. And I did find that they didn't really have enough power to warm my hands back up when they were real cold. But on a day like today, I gotta say, man, I'm happy to have them warming me up a little bit, especially since I left all my vents open, or most of them anyways. I suppose I could probably close those. A little different out here without any tree cover. Yikes, I better hang on. It was quite the blast. The seat concept seat on here is not bad, and I suppose honestly, even if you put it on here right away, 700 miles. I guess it should feel pretty close to broken. Honestly, I think most of any of my discomfort is honestly just that I'm leaning too far forward, and I do have I guess I wouldn't say severe back problems, but for a few moments in time or a few weeks back when I was younger and still thought that I was Superman on a snowboard, I did have some extreme back pain. What are you doing, Jerry? Smashed myself into the side of a mountain. Someday that I think that'd be a good story to tell, but it does give me problems, so.
In 150 feet, turn left onto County Highway.
But I never.
Road I.
Oh no! What did I do? I leave this in like 8th gear. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I definitely have to scoot my whole self off of or half myself, I guess, off. Boy, it's weird putting that in a neutral. I'm sure I'll get used to it. But, it's not like it's impossible. Just gotta plan for it and be ready. '91 always. Everything but the truck and the car. The guy that I bought this from was telling me that if you have a plastic tank, you're actually supposed to run it completely empty or close to empty when you're storing it, because it can breathe in there and degrade the tank. Or a metal tank, you want it filled up, because you don't want any moisture condensing on the inside of the tank and rusting it, which does make sense. Hold my gator up a bit, zip some flaps closed. What's that, windy? It is. Yeah, it did. Well, going good so far. What's up? Yeah, I was all right. Can you zip my back flaps? Thank you. All right, I'll follow you. 62's all right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Got some bigger foot pegs on there too. Some really mean looking ones. I don't know if those are IMS maybe. I don't know what's cooking, but boy, does it smell good. Yeah, I've got to say, other than the handlebars, man, this thing really just feels like it fits me nice. I like how my legs just kind of fit into the tank, and I mean, the seat really isn't the nicest thing that I've sat on ever, but I mean, it's definitely not uncomfortable by any means. And I think the fact that my backside may be a little bit sweaty from, like I said, standing around too much in this gear to begin with, I'm sure that's not helping. And I think moving the bars up a bit will definitely be good. How many of you guys specifically try to buy like a year-old bike with some mods done to it already? I mean, it definitely seems like, and I guess I didn't even mention that I got an extra set of used wheels with this for a set of ice tires if I want to set something up, or I mean, I guess whatever I want to do. There's lots of different things you could do. You put some super aggressive motocross tires on it also, and I'm not really sure what direction I'm going to go. But it kind of like this with the 701. I mean, it's a bit of a gamble buying something used, but I mean, if you do your research and you're careful, I mean, obviously something could still go wrong, but I mean, heck, you could also end up with a bike that's only a year old, has less than 1,000 miles on it for, quite a bit less than what you would buy it for new. This guy was just looking to help his son out and help pay for college. So, I mean, if you find somebody in a situation like that, I mean, not like I want to take advantage of him, but he wants to sell it, I want to buy it, and, if we both agree on a price, why not? I mean, it happens. If you keep an eye out for it and only purchase when it makes sense and when, things are right, then I mean, it can be a lot better than buying a new bike, honestly. So let me know what your philosophy is on that. Do you only buy new? Do you only buy used? Do you only buy bikes after they drop enough that when you go to sell it, you could sell it for exactly what you bought it for? That kind of used to be me, and then I moved into trying to buy bikes to get videos out, you know, before anybody else did, or when they're new enough that there's a lot of buzz around them. So left that mentality behind. But I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about both of my purchases that I made since then. Which of course the 701 has a lot of miles on it, I guess. But I figured that'd be a good test for the Husqvarna or KTM name to see what a bike's like after somebody else uses it for a bit and you ride it around. The Honda, well, of course, we don't need to put too many miles on it to know that it'll run forever. There was a time where I'd buy a bike and ride it just like it was, but that's when I was on a sport bike and didn't really need to make any mods. Dual sport or adventure bike, you'll definitely find your way to the to the rather expensive side of highly configurable motorcycles. But that's part of the fun, honestly. Cartway. I don't see any carts. When I took my Gen 2 home, riding it home from the bank where I met the guy, I had an eagle fly over me. I guess I'll have to settle for crows today, but not bad scenery though. For March 3rd, I'll take it. I think I also had a bunch of empty cans blow out of somebody's trailer on the way on the way home with that bike too. Hopefully that doesn't happen today or anything similar. Yep, there again. My gosh, 4th gear at 60 miles an hour? Yeah, maybe this thing does need to be geared down a bit. Jeez. He's going barbecuing. Oh, geez, if it doesn't fall out first, I guess it's just tipping around in there. Yeah, we'll back off a little bit. Oh. I almost feel like I'm lugging it in 5th gear. That's insane. Huh. I guess maybe you guys were telling me that this thing just was... I mean, I guess the DR is that way too. It's a little bit better at highway. Well, not better, but has a little bit more range. So how many of you guys are actually XR or XR650L owners and have some advice for me on what type of mods I should, or possibly I guess shouldn't do? What do you guys think makes sense? What have you picked up over the years of owning one and, you know, following along on forums and Facebook pages and that sort of thing? Let me know what I might be missing out on from what I mentioned already. Yeah, 4th gear at 55. I have to shift down. Crazy. Ooh, that sun's gonna go behind them clouds. It's gonna get dark. Ooh, I bet that's a storm. I forgot all about that. It's gonna storm today. We're headed towards the storm. I'm a ways from home. We don't have any way to put this in the back of my dad's truck, I don't think. And even if we did, it's full of stuff. I guess we might be testing the waterproofness of this skid up that I got on here. That is a big storm cloud. Maybe that's not actually what it is. I think it might be. Oh, there's a little bit of sun shining through the backside of it. Yeah, we'll be alright. Man, I might just have to slap that Tusk screen that I got for the TW when I did the 0 degree run this winter and just see what that does for me. As much as I dislike the aesthetic of it, I think just with slapping that windscreen on here, honestly, this thing would be really, really not a bad road bike at all. Okay, not a bad road. Of course, it's never going to be a road bike. It would make it a much more enjoyable, very, very nice riding dual sport on the pavement with just a little bit of wind protection. And I guess if I'm getting chilly, I should just turn these things up. I always have a hard time believing that there's actually another gear there. It seems like there shouldn't be. Got earplugs in, and I mean, this helmet isn't a super loud motocross helmet. It's definitely not as quiet as the rebranded Castle X snowmobile helmet that's really a Scorpion 950. but I don't know, I suppose it's just the clean air, there's just zero buffeting. Even with the wind, it's really kind of a nice, smooth, calm ride. Not what I expected with the rugged off-road ability that this thing has. Oh, that's kind of neat, look at that. I'm happy to have that tank to hide behind now. I think I got all my flaps shut. I feel like this thing does chug a little bit more than the KLR when you're just at a cruising speed, not taking off at all, not accelerating. But it's not like it's not a high frequency, like fast buzz. It's just sort of, I don't know, you just kind of pick up the motor a little bit more with the whole bike, but it's not bad. Well, it's no Majestic Eagle, but that's not a bad sight, huh? I bet you that's a storm. Or has the potential to be one anyway. It's not raining yet. The hill's in the distance I can still see, so there's not any rain between me and that, at least not any heavy rain. Beyond that though, well, I'm getting a little nervous. Ooh, that temperature just dropped. Suppose it doesn't help that the sun's gone. When in doubt, always bring a heated vest. Oh well, next time. I will say, going from side to side on this, it really does feel pretty darn smooth and confident and, I don't know, good. And we'll be sticking some more aggressive tires on it, of course, but man, that is a pretty smooth transition from side to side. That really, man, does not feel like I'm on a big, huge dual sport. I guess my 701 feels pretty smooth and confident at this speed also. I sure would like to take M back home, but I better get myself in gear and get back. I'm gonna have plenty of time to ride that road this summer. It's a little bit warmer, and we're not fighting the bedtime clock nor the storm that's coming. River's open down there too. Pasty sounds good right about now. Had to hit the spot, hey, warm you up a bit too. Gee, shit's a little cold. They're parked by inn. Could stay there for the night. That'd be alright. I think, honestly, part of my comfortability problems is that I'm trying to stick so close to the bike to stay out of the wind. Because now with the bit of moisture that I have on my clothes, which I'm not exactly sure why I decided not to wear my base layer, but I'm wishing I did, because it really does seem like that helps keep the moisture off of you. But with that little bit of moisture and the couple degrees that we dropped here, I'm feeling a little bit chilly. And I think that, like I said, is making me kind of squat down behind the little bit of a fairing and tank that I have. And that's just not comfy for my back or my butt. I really need to be up here. And when I'm up here, I'm feeling good, other than the wind. But I mean, again, that's just why I think every bike like this should have wind protection. I honestly don't know why they're not just sticking a slightly larger cowl on the front of this, just above the headlight. I mean, I guess it's because it's easy enough to slap something else on, but I've just never been too much of a fan of the universal windscreen. I suppose you can do whatever you want with it after you buy it, right? And that is the plan. It seems as though we may have lost the front camera. I don't know what's going on with that. Ooh, yikes. Don't do that. Yeah, that front is definitely touchy. Well, this isn't fun. Hold on. Sorry, Jerry. All right, let's go. Woo! Front's off the ground. 60. Missed the shift. Blinker on, blink, blink. Nobody coming. Nothing but me, the open road, and the XR650L. What am I gonna call this thing? I guess just the XR, huh? 650L? XR650L? That's too much to say. The old XR. Oh, well, I think I've probably been on it for about an hour. Still can't ever remember that there's another gear. Feeling pretty good. Butt's feeling maybe a little bit buzzed, but I think if I could remember to keep it in 5th gear when I'm trying to go 70, probably help that a bit. Again, definitely not enjoying the fact that I'm getting blasted with the cold wind. But other than that, 70 miles an hour indicated on the probably inaccurate dash. We'll probably do it 65. Things are a little bit noisy in the helmet, but now we're probably doing 70, and it feels good, man. I am pleasantly surprised. Passing Subarus left and right. Yeah, I mean, of course it's a big old piston in there, so running it at high speeds like this for long periods of time, I mean, you might eventually start to see some oil burning. I don't know that these have anywhere near the issues that the KLRs can have. Of course, they don't all have that. If you do the right mods, you should be able to prevent it, I would assume. So I guess we'll see what happens with this one. But man, I mean, even though it's certainly not the most comfortable thing with the wind, I mean, the vibration's really not bad. Man, I mean, if I could get the wind to quit pushing my helmet and my chest around, and like I said, it is a windy day. But sometimes it's windy when you want to ride a motorcycle, and that's why it's nice to have the wind protection. And I think with that, man, I don't know that I'm going to have all that much work to do on this thing to really get it to ride right on the highway and to feel it's just almost as comfy as the KLR. Of course, it's never going to be a KLR, but it just has to be good enough, right? On the road, on the highway, long stints. See what we can do. Well, we have made it back to the garage here. I've got to say, it's definitely not the most comfortable bike that I have ever ridden for an hour and a half, but man, I think the attitude and the power that this thing has, and I think just the off-road capabilities that this thing has, I think will definitely outweigh that. And I think with some wind protection, some higher bars, I don't think I'll be complaining too much. I'm a little bit surprised that the seat isn't more comfortable, but honestly, I think if I'm in a bit better of a riding position, that might kind of go away. I could tell that if I shifted around it kind of seemed like it did. So I'm pretty excited to see what I can do with this thing. Definitely impressed with the capabilities on the road and the highway. Honestly, a lot better than I thought it would be after an hour and a half ride. I'm happy with my purchase. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out, enjoy this beautiful world any chance you get. And if you can't do that right now, here's more videos to check out in the meantime.